Well, it is a beautiful day on the farm today, mid-February. Look at that sky, the sun's coming down. Really, really stunning. So I've got a couple of jobs to do for the farm gate stand, and also I want to tell you about an amazing option for germinating seeds if you're having trouble, like I do, having them in soil. So last year I had massive difficulty germinating my snapdragons, but also my aubergines and my peppers. When I put them in the soil, they just didn't work. So I have got an alternative option for you. It's not new, it's used by lots of other people, but you might not have heard of it. However, the seeds are at home, so let's go there first. What is this magic new germinating way, you ask? It's really simple. It's a plastic pot, some paper towel, and some seeds. So I sowed these aubergines and pepper seeds about 5 days ago, and this is basically just a plastic Tupperware pot. There's some kitchen towel that I made damp, and here are our little seeds. And as you can see, the roots are coming out, and now they're just about to start pushing off the seed head to show the first cotyledons, which are the seed leaves. These are some aubergines, and they, as you can see, are all starting to germinate. Now the thing with seeds is they have enough power, energy in them to germinate and grow up to the first true leaves before they need any soil at all. And that's why you can grow them in completely sterile environments, and you can put them in perlite and you can put them in gravel, and they don't need any soil. It's only once they've got their first true leaves that you really then need to pot them on. So this method works really, really well. Of course, if you've got seeds that need darkness, then you may need to put them in soil, or you could, I guess you could put this in a cupboard until they've germinated. But I found with most of my cut flowers last year, I managed to do them like this, and also most of my vegetable seeds, I started them like this. Now the one thing you do have to look out for is mold, and these aubergines, this is Black Beauty, and you can see there's a little tiny amount of mold, and it often happens when you get seeds all really, really close together. Now don't worry too much about it, because I find that the seed itself doesn't get mouldy, it's the seed husk that gets mouldy. So as soon as the seeds have popped out and they've got their little leaves, take them out and pop them on and discard that seed husk, and you should be fine. So I hope that's given you a new way to think about germinating your seeds. It certainly worked for me last year, and it takes a little bit of the guesswork out of germination. You know, when you put a seed into a pot of soil, you stare at it for days. Is it coming? Is it coming? Is it coming? And sometimes it's too dry, so the seed doesn't germinate. Sometimes it's too wet, so the seed gets moldy and dies. This way, as soon as they start popping, you can see them. So it's a bit of a more controlled way, and then you can get them into the pots. And look, it's warm enough to have the cushions out. Isn't that crazy? So there's a couple of things today that I'm excited about. We are reopening the farm gate stand because we have hen eggs, we have duck eggs, and these lovely forced hyacinth bulbs. So I've had these bulbs indoors for about 8 weeks. All they're in is a little glass tumbler. There's no soil, just gravel in the top. The bulb is just sat on top of the gravel, and then as you can see, I've just put some moss around the top and they've come on. So there's a few of them. This one isn't completely out yet, but it will do, so it looks good. And then this one, and they smell divine, but this one's got another little flower coming here, look. So we're selling these for £3 each, or 2 for £5. They're selling really well, so they're going down on the farm gate stand along with all of our eggs. Of course, we mustn't get too excited. It is only mid-February. We're very likely to still have a cold snap, so I can't get too so happy Over here I've got a trolley of my goodies. So these were in the shed, but the mice, as you can see, started nibbling. So we've got our ranunculus here, our anemones here. These are our first sweet peas, which are coming up, and then some more anemones. And then because it's not been super cold, I've just been leaving them in the trolley, and we have a very old airbed back from our camping days, and it's got holes in it, but all I do is I drag that across the top at night just to hold off the frost. We did have a frost last night, and it just kept the frost off the plants. The other thing I've done is I've started to grow dahlias. Now you might think I'm slightly insane. It's the middle of February. Why on earth am I starting my dahlias so early? And the main reason is they were in the shed and they were starting to get mouldy, and the mould was getting into the tubers and making them rot. So I just wanted to start forcing some growth. And all I've done to do that is I've just potted them up into big trays. So these tubers haven't been individually potted up. They are all just in here, look, just like this. I only did this yesterday. You can see there's a little bit of mould on the end of this tuber. The ones that were really mouldy, I cut off completely. And then what I've done is that there's a little bed of compost underneath this. There's all of these on top. And then these are going in the warm. And so you can't put your dahlias outside now. You really shouldn't, because they will get frosted. And you can't really even start them off in the pots in a polytunnel, because it won't be warm enough. But what you can do, if you put them all into a tray like this, you cover them in compost and you keep them a little bit moist, they will start to bud if they're in the warm. Then what you can do is, as they start to grow and they get all this voluptuous growth, you can cut all that back, because then you're going to make nice thick multi-stem plants. With all those cuttings, you can make new plants. And so I've got 2 trays like this. They are indoors, and they don't even need to be in the light to start with. Once they start to get those green shoots, then you need to get them some light. But to start with, just the warm will start the dahlias putting out their roots and making them think it's time to come alive. I should say too that regarding the eggs, we do now have chicken and duck eggs up on the website for pre-order. So if you want to pre-order Ixworth or silver appuards or khaki camels, you can. We're not pre-ordering the pheasant eggs yet because we don't know when they're going to come into lay, but they will be available later this year. It really does make a difference when the weather is like this. I mean, look at it. Look, you can see the moon up there as well. Just amazing. The other day I was planting some fruit trees, you might remember, and I've got some more. These were given to me by a friend who was leaving his allotment, so he actually dug up some of his younger fruit trees. So we've got a load of apples that we've put in next to the piggies, and it means we can pick the apples and windfalls can go straight to the girls. Hello ladies. And then there's more down here as well. So these are the ones that we put in. And then over here, we've got another 4 or 5, I think. They're all apples. Here they are. And they're just thin. They're not very old, a couple of years. But just again, more lovely apple trees. I do need to stress, more to myself than anybody else, that I must not start many seeds, because this weather has a habit of luring you in to a false sense of security, and then, you know, it might be snowing next week. But so this is the market garden. Well, obviously we're still fairly quiet. Nothing really is happening apart from our onions and our garlic, which are looking actually quite good. I'm not doing this month's market, farmers markets, because we don't have enough, but I am going to do next month's, which means I am going to start growing some radishes and give them some heat just to get them to bulb up more quickly. And also I'll be putting in some kale and some chard, and obviously then we'll have eggs and any leftover of the forced bulbs. So I'm really excited about that method of germinating, and there's something actually quite exciting about being able to see the seeds split and the root come out and those first cotyledons appear. And then, as I say, then you can just prick them out really easily, pot them on individual cells, and then just grow them on. So hopefully I'll be doing a lot of my seeds like that. As I say, last year it was the only way that I got my snapdragons to come properly, because every time I sowed them inside soil they just weren't germinating. This way you know you've got a little germinated plant, and then you can pop it into its pot. There's been a lot of activity in the pit the past few days. Lots of digging, I think, from the badgers. So I'm excited to go home and look on the camera footage. And as always, I'll share some of that at the end of the video, so you can see what is happening in the wildlife world down in our pit. But for now, the sun is starting to set, so I'm going to go and just put the animals to bed, do a bit of watering, and enjoy the lovely evening to this beautiful day.